The Sunken Garden, Arbutus Farewell. When I answered the phone call from my old friend and colleague Rupert Evans, head arborist for the Bouchard Gardens, I thought the call was going to be about planning our next West Coast salmon fishing trip. I was sad to find out it was something much more serious and professional in nature. The Bouchard Garden site is located on an old limestone cement quarry that went out of production many years ago, and the gardens were created by an avid gardener in British Columbia. One portion of the quarry pit not mined stuck out and formed a mound-like island in the middle of the old pit. It was around this island where the first garden was developed and aptly named the Sunken Garden. Like any magnificent garden, this garden needed a centerpiece, and soon an idea established in the form of a tree. Not just any tree, but an arbutus tree, which was planted on top of the island in the late 1930s. This arbutus tree, also known as madrone, is a native West Coast species found only in a few regions of the world. With its elegant leaves and coppery red bark, it made the perfect choice as an accent and centerpiece for the garden. For 70 years, this beautiful arbutus has made its home atop the island in the center of the garden, and has stood over the landscape below as a proud sentinel. This grand tree quickly grew to become the most notable centerpiece and feature of the Sunken Garden. Rupert's call was to tell me that this arbutus had finally succumbed to a species-specific fungal attack, and the tough decision to remove the centerpiece had been made. This is where the story begins. Rupert had an idea that together we could turn this sad and negative experience into an educational and positive one. And so together we planned to dismantle the tree and use the opportunity to raise funds for tree research. And so the idea of a technical rigging clinic was conceived, and to donate all proceeds to the Canadian Tree Fund. Through a lot of hard work and planning, 20 attendees joined us, and the Canadian Tree Fund received a donation last month. The location and venue for this clinic is what made the opportunity to learn so unique, challenging, and educational. Part of the challenge was the thousands of visitors daily to the gardens. Another challenge was the tree's location in the Sunken Garden. This 70-foot tall tree was on top of the small island-like mound that extended 50 foot above the garden floor. Spectacular. The work and removal plan had to consider many things, especially from a rigging perspective, because the top of this mound-like island is at most 50 foot across at the widest point, making drop zones, crew placement, and brush removal a challenge. Finally, after careful thought and planning, it was decided that due to the very limited drop zone and value of all targets below, there was only one feasible option for removal: a slide line. Slide lines, also known as high lines, are different in the following ways from speed lines. When slide lining, the line itself is tensioned under control, and wood is never dropped into the line that is in a pre-tension state. Another significant difference when slide lining or high lining is that the bending moment is virtually eliminated by guying the tree and slide line anchor point. The guying is done in such a way that the angle the high line forms in relation to the trunk is symmetrical to the angle formed by the guy line and the trunk, as you can see in the video. This cancels the bending moment and applies the forces exerted by the dismantled parts down the stem of the removal tree. There was much learning and a lot of fun that took place at this excellent rigging clinic. The Sunken Garden arbutus came to the ground without any collateral damage, using slide line techniques, incorporating balancing, lifting, drifting, and transferring systems. There was a plethora of lowering devices, compression tackle, pulleys, rigging blocks, ropes, tools, slings, experience, and shared knowledge. The good news is that the learning and donating can continue. A professional cinematographer filmed the event, and a short educational documentary is available. With all of the profits from the sales of this short documentary going to the Canadian Tree Fund. If this short clip has piqued your curiosity and you want to experience and learn more about the rigging tools and techniques used at this great rigging clinic, and if you would like to contribute to the tree research in Canada, you can get a copy of this great educational documentary from the Canadian Tree Fund or Arboriculture Canada, Training and Education. Thanks for your time, and thanks for your attention.